Wow. He even got dressed up for the occasion. Brian, you never cease to amaze me, and I love your alter ego, Mr. Q. So yeah, everybody applaud, applaud, applaud. Ah,
I'll be sure to pass on your gratitude to him when I see him.
okay, great. Okay, so this message is your message. So I invite you to type in your questions in the chat box. That's the easiest way to do it. And whatever you ever wanted to know about Unity Santa Fe, or New Thought, whatever your questions might be, I will answer them to the best of my ability. All those just wonderful accolades for Brian. Okay, so I have a private, you can always send a private question if you don't want everybody to know it's you that's writing it. So I have a private question that says, is there a way to reach illumination through marriage? And my most spiritual answer I can give is, it certainly didn't happen for me. But I have an interesting story about that and relationships. I was listening back when I lived in my condo. I was listening to Eckhart Tolle one time, back when they were on audio tapes. I think they were before CDs, so it was quite a while ago. And I heard him say, don't think you're not going to meet somebody that doesn't have a pain body. And I was like, yep, that's the reason I don't want to be in a relationship. I have enough problems dealing with my own pain body, much less somebody else's. And then in the next thing he said was, of course, some people avoid relationships because they don't want to do that. And sometimes you could actually reach enlightenment quicker through multiple failed relationships than none at all. So he put me in my place right in my kitchen. So yay, Eckhart Tolle. I think it's possible to reach enlightenment through anything. And I think that that's one of the things that's so practical about Unity, is we have an opportunity to take whatever situation we're in, whatever people in our lives, and really hold on to it until it blesses us, and to really glean the messages, knowing, like, for example, in a marriage or any kind of intimate relationship or any kind of relationship, you have a divine appointment. So something in your soul has attracted that person into your life to call you up to be all you can be. And you can only do your own work. You can't do the other person's. But hopefully by you doing your own work, that also calls the other person up higher. So that's what I have to say about illumination through marriage. What are Unity's views on free will? Well, we do have free will. Unity teaches, and one of our 12 powers is the power of will. But I think I'd rather, I think what I learned in 12-step work certainly would be true in Unity as well. And that is the realization that there are three kinds of will. There's self-will run riot, and I think we all probably know what that means. That's when our ego is in the driver's seat. And then there's God's permissive will. And I like to think of that sort of in alignment with mental science and visualization. That if we want something enough and we're willing to visualize it and take all the steps necessary to get there, then it works. And sometimes we get it and wish we didn't have it. So what the kind of will I prefer is God's perfect will. And that's the highest good for me and everybody involved. And I find that I am able to understand and grasp what God's perfect will is by getting out of my head and going into my heart and asking my divine nature, what is your will? And one of the prayers I pray when I think I want something in particular, I don't like to ask for specifics, but I'll say, this is what I think I want. Oh, divine nature that I am. However, I really only want my highest good, and I know that's your perfect will. So your perfect will, God, nothing more, nothing less, nothing else. So I hope that answered that question. To check my chats here. What has been the most enlightening part of digital church? Yeah. Um, I'm not sure how to answer that. The most enlightening part. I mean, I think there's many profound parts of digital church. Um, I guess I've gained an awareness of people's commitment to the spiritual community. That has been very gratifying and very, I'm just in awe of it. Um, I think that it's really points out that the strength of community. I think it actually has strengthened our community. And so that when we get back together, we are going to be a stronger community than ever because we've held it together virtually. Um, hmm. And it's been enlightening on a more practical level in that it has really forced me to learn, to learn the technology and my little gray cells, which have had to be more active. And I think that's good because they say, especially as we age, not that any of us are aging, but in the event that we did age, it's very good to have uh, to be learning new stuff. And so I think that's one of the things I'm so incredibly grateful for. And another thing was like yesterday, I did the memorial service for Lisa Van Steigeren, a celebration of her life. And one of her daughters lives in Australia. Her other daughter lives in Canada. And then there were relatives from all over Canada, Australia. There were people from so many different states. And wow, that was incredible to be able to have there. If we'd have had an in-person memorial service, there's no way all those people could have attended. So I think that's been great. But I'm just not sure I've reached a new level of enlightenment. So um, so the prominent theologian Karl Rahner wrote, "In the coming age, we must all become mystics or nothing at all." What is your view, perhaps considering Father Richard's Rohr assertion that Jesus is a non-dual teacher? Well, I love these easy questions, she said. Okay, well, so first of all, I love it. I love that we must all become mystics or nothing at all. Because to be a mystic is to have our heart's desire to be to experience the presence of God, to experience the oneness that is our true nature. And I really believe that is the answer to all the solutions. And non-dual, to live in non-duality instead of duality. We're talking about instead of right and wrong, bad and good, black and white, all that, that we are realizing that we are one and there is no separation. And again, that I believe truly is the answer to all societal ills, all relationship ills, to know our oneness and to act like we are one. Because if I know I'm one, then what I do to you, I'm doing to myself. And I realize that on a deeper level. So I absolutely celebrate this beautiful quote that we must all become mystics or nothing at all. and to really begin living from a place of non-duality. And we're going to be focusing on that in our Adventures in Consciousness series this fall. And I'm really looking forward to diving more deeply into that as we use Ralph Huber's revised edition of his published book, Living as Our Awakened Self. Okay. So Pam says, if we should be taking the message out into the world where the rubber meets the road, and the street hits your feet, shouldn't we be more politically active on issues, if not candidates, if we believe about what unity teaches? And I would answer yes, and I'm not your minister. It's not mine to do. I really admire those ministers who take this on, but it is not something that I am willing to do. I believe that people, and the feedback I get from people is that they come to Unity Santa Fe to strengthen their spirituality. I believe there's places, and if someone wants to form a group for a particular social justice issue and different things, I'm the first one to support that. But I'm not the minister. I don't have the calling to do that from the pulpit, if you will. And I really would encourage people. Certainly, I want to encourage people to vote. I want to encourage people to make their vote count, and to go out and be as active as they can be in support of the candidates that they support. But I just would like to keep Sunday sacred in our cyber sanctuary, so that we don't make that our focus. Let's see. Someone on an iPhone said, after clearing energies and thought forms from the subconscious, I guess, and continuing the practice of meditation and prayer, and practicing opening the heart, was practice our next for our evolution? I'm really having a hard time understanding that question. Maybe it's what practices are next for our spiritual evolution. If you want to clarify your question, I'll answer it to the best that I'm understanding it. If you're asking what practices are next for our spiritual evolution, I don't think there's any greater practice than practicing the silence and striving to experience our oneness. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, who was a paleontologist and Catholic priest in The Phenomena of Man, talked about the next breakthrough in evolution being a spiritual breakthrough. And that one of the things I love that he said, or what he said, was that when we break through that, he calls it a peduncle. And in that next breakthrough, we'll be into basically Christ consciousness. And the good news is it won't be just 144,000 of us. It will be everybody, because it's sort of like the 100th monkey. And when enough people, it'll reach a critical mass and we will all have that breakthrough together. So I hope that answered your question. From an iPad, what has been the ramifications of not being able to be together physically? Well, I think that's probably very personal to each individual. I think that our ministry, our interspiritual community, like I said earlier, I in some ways believe we're being strengthened by having to be more creative and to be able to. I love it that we have people in our Sunday cyber sanctuary and in some of our soul circles from people that were former parts of our community and now live elsewhere. And I think that's a wonderful ramification. So I know that when we do go back in person, we've got to somehow be able to include them and be able to broadcast via Zoom or something so we can be interactive. I know the soul circles. I have somebody from Missouri. I have somebody from um, Minnesota, someone from Louisiana. I think those, yeah. And it's like, this is incredible that we can have all these people. Financially, you're going to hear more about that on August 30th if you come to the community forum. But basically, I can tell you our income's down and so are our expenses. And we have been in the green. You know, this is New Mexico, so we're not in the red and black. We're in the red or green. And we have been in the green only by about $100 the past 2 months for the month. But for the year, we're running about a $10,000 deficit. So, so that's one ramification. I think that I know I have a group that I meet with on Friday nights, and the ramifications for us is our deepening spiritual connection with each other. And we come together and we use the divine mind process. We call it dining and divine minding. And it's really been wonderful that we have this opportunity to share together and to hold each other in prayer, to pray back with each other. And I think it's deepened our relationships. So I think that it's possible that we're deepening our relationships during this difficult time. Who are some of the most important teachers to help us evolve now on this path of awakening? Well, you know, I think that's one of the wonderful things about the internet is we have access to the best spiritual teachers, the most profound spiritual teachers on the planet. And I know that, you know, that different teachers resonate, you know, with all of us differently. And some of my favorite that I listened to, of course, last week you heard a lot about Shenzhen Young, who really, I'm actually taking a course while I'm on sabbatical, a meditation course, so that I'll be able to teach his method of meditation when I finish the course. And I'm doing it via internet. I mean, it's fantastic that I'm going to get certified in this meditation teaching process by Shenzhen Young. And his strong determination is just one piece of the practice he teaches. You know, Robert Spira is one of the people that I most appreciate. So I just think that it's a matter of who resonates with you. And if there's just so many different options, and I would invite people to put in the chat some of their favorites that they've been enjoying, especially online. I remember those days where, you know, if they didn't come in person, you didn't have access to them. And now we have access to all of them. How long do you recommend someone meditate each day, and should it be morning and evening? Well, if I made a recommendation, I would say 20 minutes morning and evening. So twice a day, 20 minutes is a good practice. I personally am going back to meditating at an hour at a time and with strong determination. And that takes some building up to for some people. But I would say a minimum of 20 minutes twice a day would be something to strive for. But anytime you can do it. If you can only meditate 5 minutes, do 5 minutes. If you can only do 10 minutes, do 10 minutes. And work yourself up and strive for that 20 minutes. And let's say one day you don't have time for 20. So you do 10 that day. Whatever time you spend in the silence is just such a blessing to you and to all creation. Ron is asking, oops, that was, why is the veil between this world and the next so thick? when so many people could benefit from the slightest glimmer? Is the veil an accident of the universe or by design? Well, I listen to Suzanne Giesemann on Unity Online Radio every week. And one of the things that someone on her show said about the veil was the veil is our humanity. The body is the veil. So when we go beyond the veil, we go beyond our humanity. And so I think the veil is as thick as our consciousness is individually. Um, and the glimmers, the benefits and glimmers we get can come to us in that time of practicing the presence and prayer and meditation. I don't know that the universe makes any has anything's an accident that the universe has brought out, because I really believe it's divine design, and we as individuals and as people with our egos have made an impact and have maybe created the difficulties that we have as not as just individually but collectively. So but the universe, I believe, wasn't it Einstein that said the universe is a friendly place? And that certainly is my belief. So thin out the veil, go on a consciousness diet and lose some of that excess thickness in the veil between your humanity and your divinity. Marianne says, what does Unity believe about the book of Revelations? Well, Unity interprets all the books of the Bible metaphysically or symbolically, if you will. So if you ask every Unity minister what we believe about the book of Revelations, we would all have different interpretations. It would be as if you had a dream and you wanted to know what it means. Only you can give it meaning. So when you're reading the book of Revelations or any book in the Bible, if you can, sometimes I recommend people read it, and sometimes I read it in first person, and I'll say, instead of Moses, I'll say Brendalyn wandered in the desert, and just put your own name in the name of those people and even places. And Unity has a wonderful metaphysical Bible dictionary that, if you really want to get into understanding the metaphysical meaning behind all the places and the people in the Bible, that's a wonderful book to use to do so. But I like to just put myself in the story and just say, and if there's a particular part of it that bothers you, I'd say grab onto that and really take it into prayer and meditation and ask your divine nature to reveal to you, what does this mean for me? Because it really doesn't matter what it means to everybody. It just matters what it means to you. And isn't the best way to influence the world in a positive way to work on increasing our own personal vibration, one person at a time, beginning with me, as opposed to marching, etc., since we know how to do this energetically? Well, I would say that some people know how to do this energetically, and maybe other people don't. I don't think it's an either or. I think it's a both and. And I know that the transcendental meditation folks, did an experiment where they're holding in consciousness peace, was scientifically researched, and it was incredible the difference in crime that happened. So I believe that energetically, one person at a time is the best way I can make a difference to raise consciousness, transform lives, and heal the planet. And I absolutely believe that sometimes it's necessary to have the marches and the demonstrations to show how many people are serious about the matter, you know. So I don't think it's an either or. I really believe it's a both and. And batgap.com, which is that's Buddha at the gas pump, by the way, batgap.com, has hundreds of interviews with a wide range of spiritual transformational folks. And it's a great resource that you can visit to spiritually grow. And that's true. I mean, you will never run out of incredible spiritual teachers that are being interviewed on BatGap. And again, BatGap stands for Buddha at the gas pump. All right. Is it possible to borrow that metaphysical book you were just referring to, or can it be purchased somewhere? I don't know if we have any in the bookstore, but I know I have several copies of it. I'm willing to loan out a copy. It's called The Metaphysical Bible Dictionary by Charles Fillmore. And I actually have it on my Kindle, you know. So I have it and Revealing Word. Revealing Word is another one that's a lot simpler, that gives the unity meanings for a lot of things. And it's a lot easier to work with than the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. But they're both available on from Amazon, and I belong to something called ScribeD, ScribD, and you go to their website, scribed.com, and for like $8.99 a month, you have access to so many books, you know, where if you have Audible, you only get 3 books a month for free for the $16, but for $8.99, you get as many as you want to download, and many of them are on Audible. So so those are places where you can get the books. Okay. All right. Any other questions? And here's another one, dharmaseed.org also has hundreds of free teachers speaking, and that's DHARMASEED, dharmaseed.org, for lots of teachers. And even YouTube. I mean, YouTube, you could just type in the name of a spiritual teacher and probably find all kinds of videos. Why doesn't the church set up some dinner divine consciousness meetings so more folks can participate in smaller groups? Well, that's a great idea. I guess what we could do is find out who would be interested in doing that, and then connect them together. Someone would have to facilitate it and and have a Zoom account to do it. But I'd be certainly willing to do that. And so, Tanya, maybe while I'm gone, you could ask people if they would like to participate in a dinner and divine, well, we call them divine minding. We use the 8 steps into divine consciousness that's on our website. We use those steps. And we also do that on Wednesday, and anybody can come on Wednesday. And it's usually Marianne Carr's there from Missouri, and Catherine's there from wherever she happens to be in the country, and Kathleen is sometimes there. And, you know, that's a place where, until you have another group, show up on Wednesday at 6:30. And Rosemary Peters is going to be facilitating that. She's one of the regulars, and she's going to be facilitating this Wednesday night connection call. And we always do the 8 steps into the divine mind during that call. So that's a good way to test the waters and say, wow, I really like this. And maybe then invite some of your own friends to create a group. Okay. And it's already 11:24. I think that's Tanya prompting me that I'm probably supposed to wrap it up. But here's the final one. There's an app called Libby, Libby, by Overdrive that is free to get books to read online and audiobooks for free with a library card number. And so if you have a library card, that's an app called Libby, Libby. So I'll certainly check that out today. All right. Well, I celebrate that we've had this time together, and let's just take a moment to go into prayer and meditation and connect with that one presence, that one power that has all the answers to all of our questions. So just allow the bell to bring you into an awareness of this moment. And bring your focus to the breath, not trying to change it, just being aware of it, feeling it, perhaps hearing it. And I invite you to just be aware of, even with your eyes closed, be aware of what you see. Maybe it's all darkness. Maybe there's a blotch of light. Bring your focus to what you can see. And then bring your focus to what you can hear. Just identify a few things silently that you can hear. And now bring your attention to what you feel. And that could be physical feelings or emotional feelings. It could be your feet on the floor, your buttocks on the chair, your hand on your leg. I celebrate that we have this opportunity to allow our senses to bring us to the present moment. Because what we see, what we hear, and what we feel is right now. It's not 5 minutes ago or 5 years ago. It's not 5 minutes from now or 5 years from now. It is the present moment. So I invite us to sit together in the oneness and just call things, just note them as seeing, hearing, feeling, or just see, hear, feel. And just allow that to be your focus, to bring you into the now moment, which is the only moment in which we may know our oneness. And so let's do that for 3 minutes. I got really good feedback about 3 minutes last week. So I'll ring the bell to take us in. And just note, see, hear, feel. And as we gently bring our attention back to this time and place, silently say, thank you, divine oneness, my divine nature, for the gift of seeing, hearing, feeling, and for the wisdom to allow them to bring us to the present moment, anytime, anywhere, 24/7. Thank you, thank you, thank you, divinity of all, that it is so, and so it is. Amen. So before Brian blesses us with special music, I just want to mention that in the silence, I heard vote your values. Vote your values. And I don't think any of us can go wrong if we vote our values. And I also want to encourage you to let seeing, hearing, and feeling, be aware of it. You can do it while you're walking. You can do it while you're washing dishes. You can do it anywhere, anytime. And you can do it sitting on a cushion. But it's a way to bring yourself to the present moment. So if you're thinking thoughts that are upsetting you, well, I don't want you to do a spiritual bypass. I want you to process those feelings. But if you're in a position where you can't, you're in a circumstance where you can't at that moment, all you have to do is become aware of what you're seeing, hearing, or feeling. And you will land right smack dab in the present moment. Okay, so take it away, Mr. Q.